Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today I just watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. But before we get to talk about the movie, I'll let you know, please follow me on my Instagram, follow me on my X account, check me out on Letterboxd, and also listen to my new podcast, the Real Late Podcast, where I talk about movies I don't normally talk about on the channel, talk about those for 5 minutes or less, give you my quick thoughts on them. And just talk about movies I probably won't talk about on the channel. So please look into that, follow me on there, give a review, 5 stars please, that would help me out quite a bit. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into the video. So Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, this was the fifth, this is the 5th Ghostbusters movie. Not directed by Jason Reitman, who directed Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I have talked about on my channel before. It was one of my favorite film of, I believe, 2021 when it came out. I saw it in theaters, so that was really cool. I actually got a cup from the theater, and I really liked that movie. I thought it was fun. I didn't mind. People complained about having kids Ghostbusters, and it's not really that interesting when you have good characters. Phoebe, who's played by McKenna Grace, I think she was the standout in that movie. I also really liked her little sidekick friend podcast. I don't know the actor's name, I'm sorry. But I really liked that movie. I thought it was, it was fun, it was well paced, it was funny, and it was very good. It was way better than what they did with the 2016 Ghostbusters with the all-female cast. And I'm not saying that because it's all-female that it was bad. I'm just saying that, they had an opportunity to revamp the Ghostbusters with an all-female cast or whatever, and they made it goofy, and they didn't make it serious, and people complained about the drama in this new movie, how it wasn't like the 80s comedy, and so it's not really stuff you can do nowadays without it being so Caddyshack raunchy type humor stuff. So and I really liked, like I said, this new cast of people. You got Paul Rudd, like I say, what's her name, McKenna Grace, and then you got the old Ghostbusters. You got Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, and you got the receptionist Sigourney. I don't think Sigourney Weaver. She wasn't in this movie. She was in the last movie. She was only in a cameo. But with this movie, you got the new Ghostbusters. They moved to New York, and basically they start ghost busting around the area, but after some damage they cause to the city, they get a talking to by the mayor, who is Mr. Peck from the first movie, who tries to bring down the Ghostbusters, and now he's the mayor, and so he's kind of like their stopping them from doing the stuff, or taking all their equipment away, and in the movie. And basically is like, you can't have the little kids running around, they don't let kids become cops and firefighters when they're 15 years old. And so Phoebe's sort of sidelined by the team for a majority of the movie, but she goes off and does her own thing. She ends up meeting another young female ghost, who is, who died in a fire. And so Phoebe, she becomes friends with this sort of ghost, and bringing her around the people. We also get more stuff with Ray in this movie. Ray and Podcast, they kind of have their own show, which they sort of kind of talked about in the first in Afterlife. And when they talked about it, they were kind of like talking about what the stuff they believe and everything. And so now they got to have a show together, which I guess Podcast works at that. Ray's occult books in the movie, and so he's kind of helping with that. So you got Podcast and Ray doing their thing, Phoebe's doing her thing, and then you got her mom, Paul Rudd, and Finn Wolfhard. They're out doing the ghost busting stuff. And then you got Ernie Hudson, who has been developing another facility aside from the firehouse, which they're back at. That's where they're kind of staying at, in the firehouse. And so he's got another facility that they built where they have new ways of holding the ghost, because their old machine has been, it's not holding the ghost like it used to. It has been holding ghosts, I guess, since they opened it back in '84. and so that's become a new problem. So that's why they built this new facility. Along with that, we also meet Kumail Nanjiani, who has this little thing that would belong to his grandma, and he says thanks to Tawny, and he gives it to Ray, and it ends up being holding the the soul, or the and capturing the spirit of like this ice demon called Garaka. I was thinking Baraka from I think it was Mortal Kombat. Anyway, of Garaka is holding this thing. It's like this ice thing. Basically, it turns everything, your fear, into like ice, and basically freezes everything, freezes over in the city. And which the movie's called Frozen Empire. They call the thing in the when they're talking to Patton Oswalt in the movie, they call it the Death Chill, which I think that would have been a way cooler title than the Frozen Empire. But I'm not in Hollywood. I think the Ghostbusters, the Death Chill, would have been cooler than the Frozen Empire. Which same year we also had the New Empire, which was the Godzilla Kong movies. So it was just where you had two movies named with something Empire in it. But this movie, one thing I will say about it is that there is some funny parts in it, but it's more focused on, I guess, trying to develop this, the lore a little bit. Because it starts off like this. It goes back to 1904 when this, the grandmother of Kumail Nanjiani, who must be really old. He said recently deceased. I don't know how recently deceased, but she was like let's say she was 20 years old in 1904. It's 2024 now. You tell me she's 120 years old? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to guessing, but it's just weird that 1904, like this. I feel like this. She lived a long life, if that's the case. But yeah, but you kind of building the lore a little bit, and so for many parts of the movie, it gets, there's like a lot of quiet, there's a lot of like slow spots. You get some cool spots, like you get cameos from the library ghost from the first movie. You get some stuff with Slimer, and you get that cool chase at the beginning of the movie with the dragon, which I thought was going to play more into the end of the movie, but it was just more of an opening kind of thing. And then you get your scene with the big bad. And one thing I do like about the ending is that you bring everybody together, and Phoebe figures out, because this little ball is made of brass, which is holding this being, the Garaka, into this little thing. And so Phoebe melts down the brass, puts it in her proton pack, and thus she's able to sort of hold back the character. She's sort of to hold back this character for a little bit, as well as Kumail Nanjiani, who turns out has has like a fire power, so it's like inherited from his grandma, which is kind of shown in a cool scene where they go meet Bill Murray, who doesn't have a whole lot of screen time in the movie, which I think is good that they give more screen time to the needed characters. I think Ray in Podcast, I think that makes sense to give him more screen time with that character. Ernie Hudson's more of a behind-the-scenes guy, who is like, he's like this, in the movie they say he's like philanthropist, so I'm guessing he's a lot of money, and so therefore he's doing his own thing for the Ghostbusters, kind of behind the scenes. And then you got Venkman, who's just doing his thing, and so, and then you got Melnitz, this receptionist who is around, kind of stuff. But they all come together at the end, and they all have their, they all like need each other. You have Phoebe; she's taking control. She's taking control of the being. You got the old Ghostbusters doing a thing at the end of the movie, which I guess I won't spoil for you. Then you have the rest of the family of the Ghostbusters helping her, and they all work together at the climax of the movie, which I thought was good. I think people complain about nostalgia. This movie relies more on nostalgia, and I thought Afterlife did that, because they kind of teased the Ghostbusters more. But I'm glad that they brought them in, but they kind of made sense in the story, at least in my opinion. The amount of screen time that each character of the old characters had made more sense, and so I liked what they did with that movie. I will say I wish there was more ghost busting in it. There wasn't a whole lot of it. We do get the first beginning at the end, and then at the beginning, and then at the very end, but not really much in the middle. Like I said, you do get some ghost stuff, but not like very much. You do have a really cool new ghost, the Possessor, who like possesses different things. Like there's a scene where they're in the new facility, run by Winston, and it's like jumping through different things, like a vacuum cleaner and a record player and a little thing and a bunch of other stuff, and that comes back through the rest of the movie. And the funny little scene where there's a trash bag going through the library and the line coming to life and stuff like that, and so, which I thought was entertaining. And there are some cool spots of the movie. Unfortunately, the bad guy, I thought like it looked too CGI. I wish, and it could have been a COVID thing, and I don't know, but it could just be like, oh, we just need a thing, or maybe they had a physical thing on set, and then there's like, oh, we'll just cover it with CGI. I really wish you got somebody like Doug Jones or one of the people who wear the creature effects, you know, in like a costume, you know, do the CGI where it's needed, like it's floating and whatnot, but like have somebody in like a creature suit. Like they did a lot of practical stuff with Slimer, you know, the flying stuff of course is CGI, but they had like the hands with the rubber thing. I wish they did that with the bad guy, or had more somebody wearing a mask and not a bunch like a big CGI bad guy. And so more practical. There's a lot more digital effects, but there's a lot of decent practical effects that are covered up with CGI, but they still went practical with it, which I do appreciate in a modern day movies, which like to just cover everything with CGI and it looks like shit, like it did in 2016. But yeah, with all that being said, I thought the movie was entertaining enough. I hope they make another one. They get more ghost busting in that. Somewhere, people always say that they should do like a Ghostbusters, like different factions of the Ghostbusters, like all across the United States, and I think that would be cool. But I think if you're going to continue on with this storyline, I think we should go somewhere else. Somewhere we were in like the rural country. We're in New York. Let's go somewhere in like the redwood, like some different world. Like we get at this problem in, I don't know, just like some like different parts of the world. Like we got this problem, we need the Ghostbusters, and I think taking them out of the country or out of the city, I think would be cool, and getting them somewhere else, a different city, or basically maybe they meet up with different factions of the Ghostbusters, and it's like we got our guys out in Seattle, they're gonna meet up with us, and then they have the new Ghostbusters, and they create this big team up movie. And I don't know, just something a little bit different for the next movie if they do another one. So yeah, with that being said, hope you guys watched the video. Hope you guys liked the video, and yeah, thank you for watching, and please check out all the stuff down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.